Hi guys, this is John here with another final reveal video. But this one's a little bit of a special one because this is the final reveal video for the Spiffy Tiffy build as hosted by Martin Lamont, the IBM in America. Yes, Martin, I did manage to get them finished before the end of the deadline, and one of them was a real bitch, but the other two, yeah, they've all come out quite nice. I was quite surprised actually. They've all come out quite reasonably looking. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to pan the camera down so you can see the three gorgeous beauties all on display. This one's for you, Martin. I'll just bring the video down. There we go. Right, in front of us I have the marquee, which is the X-Frog kit of the Mark 1A Hawker Typhoon. This kit was built into a model that represents an RAF frontline fighter that was rushed into service in late 1941, early 1942 to counter the FW-190 threat that was such a scourge in World War II at that time, the Typhoon being the only aircraft that could catch it at a low level. It was a conversion, and I'm still having issues with the main undercarriage wheels. They are a bit of a pain in the neck, but we'll get to that in a minute. The kit itself was converted from the Frog Marquee 1B, and I rescribed the machine gun boxes there because the aircraft's actually armed with 12 303-inch Browning machine guns, which would have been the intended armament for the Mark 2A Hurricane. It was actually fitted to the Mark 2A Hurricane, the 12 boxes, but they were administered into the wings of the Hurricane in two separate boxes in each wing, whereas in the Typhoon, as you can see here, they were just packed into one large wing box, both sides. So you had 6 guns in each wing. The main issue with the aircraft was, of course, its airframe and its very unreliable engine in those days. But the aircraft itself, you know, I did have some serious issues with it, converting it into a Mark 1A. The first thing that happened was the propeller spindle that actually holds the propeller in place broke off, and it broke off about 6 or 7 times during the construction of this kit, and it hasn't sat very well, but it does rotate. Which isn't too bad. The cockpit canopy was one of the worst cockpit canopies I've ever had to work with. I polished it and polished it and polished it so you can actually see through it now, but when it originally went on, it was like smoky glass on a bathroom window. it was awful. But the kit eventually did go together quite nicely, and I'm quite impressed with the way it went together. So that's the Marquee Mark 1A. We'll pan the camera over again, and we'll have a look at the 1944 Normandy invasion version. This is the Academy kit that I built, which turned into the Mark 1B. I was really impressed with the Academy kit. I think the Academy kit as an option for a Typhoon is a really nice one. It went together like an absolute dream. The cockpit interior is actually quite detailed considering the age of the model. It's pushing 25, 30 years old nearly now. And you have the options for a 3-bladed propeller, and I built this one in a 3-bladed propeller to enable the aircraft to look like a Normandy invasion plane, because at the time of the Normandy invasion they were all retrofitted back with the 3-bladed prop because of the issues they had with the 4-bladed prop. I fitted this one with a rocket armament, as she would have been in the D-Day invasion. It's a nice looking kit. I was quite impressed with the way this went together. Very nice looking kit indeed. And the cockpit interior, again, that's quite nice as well. I did a little trick with the cockpit interior because I wanted to make the seat look a little bit spongy. So what I did was I took the seat itself, painted it silver, and then I coated the seat sponge area, which would have been like the seating cushions for the pilot, in a very, very thin layer of plasticine, and moulded it into the correct position with a modelling knife, and then painted it matte 29. And I think it's done the desired job. I think it's quite nice. The interior of the cockpit is, as I said, it's quite detailed. I was quite impressed with the way this model went together. The transfers were quite good too. Didn't really have any issues with the sheen, although the large round balls were a bit of a problem. They still don't want to sit properly, but you know, you can't have everything, can you? You can't have everything your own way. So that's the Academy kit, the Mark 1B, and then I did a late Mark 1B with the Airfix model, and I think the Airfix model does show the fact that the Airfix kit is the best. In my opinion, she is definitely the best, with the Academy kit coming quite a close second, with the Marquee kit probably being the worst model of a Typhoon you can possibly imagine. Again, this was a four-bladed prop version. This was early 1945, when the aircraft were based in northern France and pushing through towards the German border by, I would have thought February 1945. I really like the Airfix kit. The Airfix kit is really, really nice. The transfers were beautiful. The fit of the kit, I was expecting the kit to be a bit of a nightmare with the way that the wings manufacture onto the aircraft's airframe, but honestly, it went together like a dream. The interior of the cockpit is really nice, and if I can get some of that image there to show you there. But the actual instrument panel is a decal, which saves an awful lot of work. And one of the things I really like about the Airfix kit, and I like a lot of models where they do this, is the exhaust stubs are a separate part, so you can actually paint the kit, get it all sorted, and then put the exhaust stubs in as a last, almost like an afterthought. But it just finished, the finishing touches on this. You know, the way Airfix built this kit is wonderful. Really, really impressed with this model. It's gorgeous. And if anyone was after a Typhoon Mark 1B, this is the kit I would recommend them get if they want a 72nd scale one. It's absolutely delightful. I'll just take this panel off because I've got this loose fitting, and then maybe you can have a look at the gun bay. The gun bay, I mean, it's probably not as good as Martin's, but you know, for me, still, for an old guy who can hardly see, I don't think that's that bad. And I've fitted this with a bomb armament just to show like a different armaments fit to what you would normally get on a Typhoon, which is RP rockets. But I do like what Airfix have done with this kit. It's really, really nice. And the decals I couldn't ask for better decals. They were wonderful. So that's the in-box review. Just to let you know, the aircraft were painted in Tamiya Dark Sea Grey acrylic paint. And the top coat, funnily enough, all three aircraft, I did them all exactly the same way, is painted in matte 30 Humbrol coat. So you've got two different types of paint going on the kit. The undersides were Tamiya Sky Grey, and all the interiors are done as per a lot of photographs that I've seen. And there's actually an aircraft in a museum in Falaise in France, and the interior of that aircraft is definitely black with silver tubings and bulkheads, and the seat and back bulletproof panel is definitely silver. It's actually an aluminium colour. I didn't get too much of a look at the engine because there's not really any pictures of the engine, but if you want a pretty good look at what an engine should look like on a Typhoon, Martin's done his 24 scale Typhoon Mark 1B, and from what I've seen from photos, he's got it spot on. I don't think he could have done a better job. It's a gorgeous job. So anyway, Martin, that's my inbox review. I hope this suffices for the aircraft's deadline. I am going to send you photos, so you should get some photos through on Facebook, which you can put up on your update for December. And all of this should be going up tonight. So very pleased with the result, and thanks for inviting me into your buddy build. And I hope to get stuck into the next one. Hopefully. I'm looking at one of the Harriers for the group Harrier build. So anyway, thanks very much for inviting me, and I hope I've done some of these Typhoons justice. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.